Hi YouTube, my name is Heather and I love anti-MLM content here on YouTube. I'm hoping to use this channel as an excuse to sit on the floor and talk about the unethical practices in multi-level marketing companies. Today, instead of talking about Beachbody, I really wanted to listen to a video from another coach who teaches people within multi-level marketing companies. This one is named Ray Higdon, and he's going to tell us about the 7 things that all anti-MLMers say. I've been really enjoying digging deeper into a few of these MLM coaches and watching a lot of their videos, and I hope you enjoy it, and you can let me know down below.
Today I'm going to discuss the 7 things that all anti-MLMers say. Now, before I was a coach and trainer for the network marketing industry, I was the #1 income earner of a network marketing company. I've noticed there is a trend of these bullying, shaming, mean anti-MLM people that are going around dropping comments that you may not be able to answer. Let me help you with that.
First, he's saying that anti-MLMers are bullies and they shame people in MLM companies. I know everyone's thought about what bullying entails is different and it's very subjective. Often in the MLM context, anything that speaks out against MLM is considered bullying. Of course, if someone, an anti-MLMer on YouTube, is sitting there talking about one's appearance, clothes, the words they use, their apparent intellect, their hair, their makeup, anything about the individual themselves, not about the unethical things they're saying, could be classified as bullying. But in my opinion, these 7 things that he's going to talk about, they're all very, very reasonable critiques, but he's saying them in a tone of voice that makes it seem more serious than it actually is, more harmful than it actually is. In my opinion, none of these things he's going to tell us is actually bullying, but it's very reasonable, constructive criticism, very reasonable questions and points.
Okay, first I'm going to tackle only the people at the top make money. Well, I'm an example in both directions of why that's not true. So when I first got started in network marketing, I joined a company, and I'll be honest, it wasn't my focus. Now I did try. I did make a little bit of money, not a lot, but I recruited a few people that ran with it, and it was their full-time focus, and they out-earned me. Now, how's that possible if only the people at the top make money? Now, I was the 288,000th rep of that company. I did make some money, but 2 people under me became 6-figure earners, right? I did not become a 6-figure earner in that company, but 2 people I brought in did. So how's that possible if that's true? If only people at the top, it means it's paid for performance. They outperformed me.
All it means, Ray, is that you're talking about a completely different point. When individuals who are against the anti-MLM business structure say only the people at the top make money, they don't mean only the first few distributors make money. That is not what the argument is at all. They mean only the people who are at the top of the compensation plan make money, which is true. If you look at any MLM income disclosure statement, you'll see those at the top make lots of money, those at the bottom don't make a living wage, don't make any money, or even go into debt. That is because you can only make money in MLM if you have a team. You can only rank advance in MLM if you have a massive downline below you. And that's the only way to get to the top of the company. So he's making an argument that's not actually connected to what anti-MLMers say.
They got the product in front of more people than I did. That's all it means, and that's why that is a total myth. Number 2, only a tiny percentage of people make money. Well, you just have to understand sales, okay? And one of the examples that I've shared before on some of my other videos is the realtor example. And this comes from my good friend Tim Sales, who's a fellow trainer with me. And did you know in 2019 over 700,000 people bought the study materials?
Listen to all these statistics he's saying and note that he does not give sources for it. I would love to see these sources and actually fact check him. But of course, these coaches are not going to provide that.
to become a realtor. Now, the only reason to buy those materials is to become a realtor. They're teaching you contract law and legalese and stuff like that. No one's buying that for recreational reading. And that course, by the way, is almost 60 hours, right? So you got to be pretty serious about being a realtor to buy that. Now, it does cost money. Taking the exam costs money, and about 44% of people pass the exam. Okay, so out of 700,000 people, 50,000 passed the exam. Out of the 50,000, 37,750 sold a home. So the average commission about 5,000. Now the reason, why am I walking you through all of this? Because if you looked at only 37,000 out of 700,000 people made money at all, you might think, dang, is that a scam or something? And then that is.
I have a few things to say about that. First, the fact that only 37,000 people out of those who took the test, only a small amount of people passed the exam. That doesn't mean anything. It means that exams in those kinds of fields are hard and not a lot of people pass them because they have to study, they have to prepare for a long time in advance. And even if someone does do that kind of preparation, they might still not do well the day of. That doesn't mean anything. And he likes to use this example in a lot of his videos, saying that, look, only a small portion of realtors from the 700,000 people sell a house and make commission. Therefore, what we do in MLM is not a scam. This comparison doesn't make any sense, and that's because a realtor, their income is not based on their ability to recruit other realtors underneath them, who also recruit other realtors, who also recruit other realtors, and a realtor is not making money off of their hundreds of people in their downline, off of everything they do, off of the other people they recruit, and off of the houses that they are able to sell. This argument is invalid. You can't compare realty or the realty market to MLM, because in MLM, your income is based majority on the actions of everyone in your downline, on the sales and recruitment of everyone in your downline, not on your own skills and efforts. In realty, your income is based on your ability to sell houses. What do you think about that? I hate this comparison, and he uses it all the time.
It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, this is yet again pay for performance. There is a concept called the pipeline. How many people did you reach out to? How many people did you follow up with? How many people did you get to the open house, i.e. in front of your product or video? So the issue becomes when someone says only a small percentage of people make money, the reason that's hard to battle is when there's no comparison. But you compare it to something that I think most of us agree that
there's no comparison, but let's compare it to something. That doesn't make any sense.
That's a valid career, but when you hear 700,000 and only 37,000, now you have a comparison. You have a comparison there. And so it all boils down to anything in sales, network marketing, real estate, anything. How many people did you get through the pipeline? That's it. That is the indicator, not the industry. So that's the takeaway from that. And there are many things that people do on the side. Network marketing is.
Again, your income as a realtor is based on your ability to sell houses. Your income in MLM is based on your ability to recruit hundreds of people in your downline who also recruit hundreds of people in your downline. It's not based on your ability to put people through the pipeline in MLM, because we know that it is a statistical improbability. It's impossible for everyone in MLM to have huge downlines, because there are not enough people in the world. At least 80% of people have to be at the very bottom of the company, either losing money or making no money, for the 20% of people at the top to be successful and make a reasonable wage. All those people below them have to be failing and suffering. Again, invalid comparison, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help his argument.
It's usually one of them. If you ran the statistics of who runs a blog, of YouTubers, of podcasters, and what percentage of them make money, it would actually be pretty similar, because again, what does it come down to? It comes down to the pipeline. How many people did that podcaster get in front of their product? How many people did that blogger get in front of their product, et cetera, and so forth. And so if someone's starting this already part-time, then that lessens the time they have to build that pipeline. And here's another comment.
Deanna Mims has said this in her videos before. You cannot compare MLM to YouTubers because Deanna Mims's wage from YouTube is not based on the actions of other YouTubers in the same space, right? So her success is not based on what Isabella Lanter does or what Jessica Hickson does. She's not required to recruit her friends and family to also start a YouTube channel and talk about anti-MLM content for her to be successful and make money. You can't sit there and make comparisons between MLM and other industries because the majority of other industries, all other industries, do not require recruitment for you to make a decent basic wage that will cover your basic needs and maybe allow you to participate in your community a little bit. What do you think about that? I know I'm rambling, but I hate how he seems to be saying this so matter-of-factly, like there's no debating it. But in my opinion, all these comparisons are completely invalid. I'd love to hear what you say about what you think about that below.
One. Anything you have to pay to join is a scam. I mean, that's just silly. You're talking about, do I want to apply and take a job, or do I want to start a business? And that business has varying costs. Now,
to be a business owner means that you have to have control over product, pricing, distribution, etc. The argument I've seen in the anti-MLM space is not anything you have to pay for is a scam. Any job that you have to pay for monthly for the privilege of doing your job is a scam, according to the FTC. A big sign of a pyramid scheme is having to pay to play. So again, invalid, but let's hear what he has to say.
Just because network marketing is low cost, there is a cost. You're typically getting product, or you're getting access to a certain type of service or whatever. But without any kind of comparison, if you're only comparing it to a job, then yeah, it's different. You may or may not be aware, but in 2016, I sold my network marketing business center. How could I sell something that isn't a business? Well, it is a business. Can you sell a job? I remember I left a high-paying salary to go into real estate. Unfortunately, I couldn't sell that position. Okay, all right, who wants it? Who wants it? I'm going to place.
Right, you didn't sell a business, you sold your downline, which is interesting. I've never heard of that before. I didn't know that was a thing in MLM where someone could just buy a massive downline and they're automatically at the top of that mini pyramid. If it was your actual business, you would have control over the products, the packaging, the price, the sales, the distribution, the human resources, payroll, advertising, what you do in MLM. But again, you're advertising, you're paying a company for the privilege of providing free advertisement for them. So you're not really in control of anything in MLM. You don't have any creative freedom to determine the flavors of the products, what products you want to have in your company. That shows that it's not a business. You are paying for the privilege of being a salesperson. You are a contracted employee. You are a glorified salesman. And he's saying, oh, well, I sold my downline, and so that must mean it's a business. No, you just sold your downline, which in my opinion is a very unethical thing to do. I had no idea that people were allowed to do that. Did you know that? Are you aware of any MLMs where that is allowed in their terms and conditions? I'd love to know.
Someone in my position, no, the HR director does that, not me, right? Because I didn't own it. I sold my business center. And so it is.
You didn't own your business center. Whatever MLM company you were in, that's their company. And you were just the figurehead for your downline. You didn't own it.
It's a business, and businesses have varying costs. Now, I have a friend in Vegas. He bought a brick oven for his pizza restaurant. It was $80,000. How many pizzas does he need to make, and the profit of the pizza to make that back? A lot. If you go out there and you want to buy a franchise. Now, why do people buy franchises? Because it's a name that people recognize, and they have a system. I just follow a system. I don't have to figure it all out myself. So if you look at one particular franchise called Domino's Pizza, you may have heard of it. It's a $250,000 investment, and they tell you it's a 10-year return on investment. So for those of you who haven't, studied, business or anything, return on investment, what does that mean? That means you make your money back. So in 10 years, expect to have your investment back of $250,000. And let's hope that none of your drivers crash into anyone and kill anybody. Let's hope that no one robs you. Let's hope that, the meat doesn't go bad. Let's hope there's no supply chain issues, right? All kinds of things can go wrong. But they're telling you to expect a 10-year return on investment. And so all businesses have a cost. It just so happens network marketing is a business, we've proven that, has a very low cost. Usually it's a couple.
You didn't prove anything, Ray. And also, I don't think you can compare being a salesperson for an MLM, paying for the privilege to sell for an MLM, and an actual brick and mortar store. I think the majority of people who go into a brick and mortar business, they would understand that the investment is significant. You have to purchase or lease a building, you have to buy product, you have to hire people, you have to do human resources activities, you have to do benefits for employees and taxes, et cetera, et cetera. I think people understand that that's going to be a higher cost, and you actually own it. You are actually in control of everything that goes on in your business, everything. In MLM, we already said, the company decides when they want to release products and flavors, and you don't have any control over anything. You don't control when the new products come out, the flavors, the packaging, how it's distributed, customer service, nothing. So if you're in an MLM, unfortunately, you are not a small business owner. You are a salesperson. If you are an actual small business owner, I would love to hear how it makes you feel when you see MLM distributors call themselves a small business owner.
$100, sometimes a couple $1,000. Ask any other business owner on the planet, hey, to start a business for a couple $1,000, is that a lot of money? They're going to say, I paid more for that in my permits. Okay, so that answers the issue of things you got to pay for are a scam. Okay, another real common one is most people never make their money back. As we've talked about, that is something in most businesses. You have a certain length of time that's a return on investment, but
most businesses that you actually own and have control over, yes. Not an MLM.
The end of the day, even our Domino's franchise friends, at the end of the day, it is pipeline. It's pipeline. How many people did you expose to the product? How many people did you follow up with? How many people did you get in front of the video? This is, you want to make your money back, there you go. One of our clients, Amy.
I'll just pause before he goes into the next part. So you never make your money back because you didn't expose enough people to the product. You did not fill your pipeline. We know it's impossible for every single person in every single MLM to be successful and have a big team. It has nothing to do with your efforts. You could reach out to 1,000 people a month, and potentially you are not going to have anyone join your team, especially because in current times, the predatory business structure of MLM is more well known. There are documentaries on Netflix and Amazon Prime about how people are victimized and preyed upon to be recruited into an MLM, and then how they did everything that was asked of them. They did exactly what they were told, and they still didn't make any money or even lost money. So again, that isn't a very valid argument. So now we're going to go into a story about one of his clients, and her name is Amy. So I'm going to let it play, and then we'll talk about it.
She was in network marketing for 17 years, had never made her money back. Now, that's not the greatest story, right? That would be the one that anti-MLMers would highlight. But she found a new way of doing things. She started understanding the pipeline. She found my social media training. She's now $1 million earner in her company. Now, that's a really amazing story. That's an awesome story of someone who just never gave up. Could she have used the skills a little bit earlier? Of course. But the whole thing of most people don't make their money back is that they're just not doing the pipeline. That's why they didn't make their money back, and that's why Amy hadn't made her money back either. So I'd love to hear from you.
How sad is that? So someone was in MLM for 17 years, never made any money. I wonder how much debt she put herself into. Also, I wonder about how she was coerced into staying in the MLM for that long. We know that uplines and CEOs, they use indoctrination tactics to keep people dependent on the MLM. They'll use your why that they got out of you when you came in. Say you were lonely and have no friends, so you're looking for the community. Say you want to be home to take care of your daughter who has special needs. They'll prey on that vulnerability to keep you in and say, don't give up. Why are you giving up on your daughter? Why are you giving up on your dreams, you have to stick it out and keep going. I wonder how much money this poor woman's upline made off of her going into extreme debt for 17 years straight. He just said also that Amy didn't make any money for 17 years because she did not put enough people in her pipeline. I hate that victim blaming mentality. I feel like I've said this 100 times on this channel so far. It has nothing to do with your efforts in an MLM if you didn't make any money. The structure is literally designed for you to fail, because you have to fail for the at maximum 20% of people at the top of the pyramid to be successful.
I do read and respond to every single comment. And so what's one that you've heard from an anti-MLMer? Have you been getting bullied? There's a lot of them out there, man. I don't know what they do for their career, but they have a lot of time on their hands. So what's one that you have heard? Drop it in the comments if I haven't covered it, and maybe that becomes my next video. Another kind of crappy comment that I've seen is, why don't you do a real job? I've seen that comment in a lot of network marketing, pro network marketing kind of videos. Most people in network marketing are doing this on the side. Most of them do have a job, but they learn something. They learn something called passive income. They learn the concept of, hey, if I introduce someone to this company, anytime this person orders products from this company, I get paid. I'm doing something one time and getting paid many times. That's not like my job. So most jobs, you're getting paid for your time. If you decide to take a few years off, they ain't gonna pay you. That's not how it works. I have one friend, Dave, out in Sacramento. This guy built a very, very successful business, and he stopped building it, but he had built up a very large customer base, and he, 25 years later, still gets over $10,000 a month. Now, he did a monumental amount of work. This is not some lottery ticket, right? What did he do? During the years that he did work, he worked that pipeline like crazy. He talked to a lot of people, got a lot of rejection, got out there, did a lot of stuff, and he's getting paid over and over. That's why someone's looking at network marketing as an alternative, is they're looking at.
So when I've thought before, oh, these people should get a different job, only because I think people in MLMs are worth more than their MLM. They're worth being paid and compensated for their time and efforts, at least the minimum wage of whatever state, province, country, wherever you are. And he's talking about someone who made a massive business and then doesn't have to work it and still makes an exorbitant amount of money every single month. That's going to be like 0.0000001% of each MLM company. The chances of you having income like that is not realistic. It's not going to happen for you. And he's just telling us about one of the major problems of the MLM business structure is those with massive teams don't really have to work, and they're going to make massive amounts of money off of everything their downline does. Something interesting that in MLM speak, customers would actually mean your downline, because we know that there's very little actual customer sales in MLM, and the majority of the company revenue comes from the distributors themselves. So thank you, Ray, for pointing out another very large issue with the MLM business structure. And you're not going to be able to achieve this kind of freedom that's just on the screen unless you work for years and years and years and years without a break, and then you can enjoy the time and the financial freedom off of the suffering of the people below you.
Freedom. They're looking at, hey, maybe I can, get my passive income up to a point where I don't have to work extra hours, right? I don't have to show up, and it's going to come in, month out, whether I roll over a bed or out of bed. Now, sometimes people quit, of course. Sometimes people cancel their auto ship. But if you're continuously working that pipeline, you can compound your efforts. And even if you build a team, now not just you is working the pipeline, now other people are too. Same pipeline, and you're getting compensated on all of their efforts too. That's why people don't just stick to a job and want to see, hey, can I do this thing? Because the benefits of it are pretty amazing. The big one.
You're only going to get this residual income if you, as I just said, work constantly to build a massive downline. And that's just not realistic for the majority of people, obviously. So this one's really good. It's the pyramid scheme statement. So let's take a listen about what he has to say.
This is a pyramid scheme. Now, most people don't know what a pyramid scheme is. So my favorite response is usually like, what do you mean? And they're like, it's bad. You know, they're fire, right? They can't really enunciate what they think they mean. And it's very strange, but they're really comfortable saying that. This is a pyramid scheme. Well, a pyramid scheme means there's no product.
That's false. We've learned that's false several times on this channel already.
Right? So people that are paying to join something are the people who were in before them are being compensated from that money. And this is the most famous, I think, pyramid scheme would be Bernie Madoff. So an investor would come in and give him tens of millions of dollars, and he would take that money and say, thank you very much, I'm going to invest it. Right? And then he would give that to investors that were with him earlier saying, look what we made. And they're like, yay, right? There's no actual product there, right? Like what's happening? The product is getting other suckers to buy into this thing. Well, network marketing companies, they either have a service that they have spent the millions of dollars to build the software and infrastructure around to be able to host that service, or it's a product, right? It's a product. You're getting something. And so as far as...
First off, Ray, in 1 minute of internet research, I learned Bernie Madoff, his scheme was a Ponzi scheme, not a pyramid scheme. So I'm not sure if you just didn't do 2 minutes of internet research, or it could be potentially that he is trying to mislead his viewers and talking about MLM in the context of a Ponzi scheme and showing, look, we're not a pyramid scheme, when he's actually describing something else. So in the MLM versus pyramid scheme video that I did several weeks ago, we learned that a pyramid scheme is, quote, a fraudulent system of making money based on recruiting an ever-increasing number of investors. The initial promoters recruit investors who in turn recruit new investors and so on. Sorry, I can't talk. The small group of initial promoters at the top require a large base of later investors to support the scheme by providing profits to the earlier investors. We know that pyramid schemes can have products. Oftentimes, the products in an MLM are used to hide the fraudulent structure of the company, and instead of just investing, these MLM distributors are paying into the company through personal volume requirements that do make its way up to the top of the pyramid. In the Beachbody context, these investments from an uplines downline comes in the form of, again, personal volume requirements, which leads to team cycle bonus and match bonuses for high up Beachbody uplines. Also, so the big difference between a Ponzi scheme and a pyramid scheme, in a pyramid scheme, the victims are told that they can make money from recruiting other people. In a Ponzi scheme, it only requires an investment in something from its victims with a promised return at a later date. So the difference is very subtle, but they are different. Pyramid scheme requires recruitment, or they're told that they have to recruit to make a profit. In a Ponzi scheme, which he just described, Bernie Madoff had a Ponzi scheme. In a Ponzi scheme, investors are just told to invest and then they'll get a profit at a later date. So I don't know if he didn't do his research. I love it that he's saying that anti-MLMers don't know what a pyramid scheme actually is, but he just spent the last couple minutes describing a Ponzi scheme. Let me know if I missed anything about that. I know that was like a 2-second discussion. This was all found out within 2 minutes on an internet research. Let me know if I missed anything, and let me know your opinions about this specific point below if you have them.
It being a pyramid, that also insinuates that people that are in earlier make more than those that come in, and that's not true, right? I became the #1 incomer of a company. I out-earned all the people above me in that company because of my performance, because I just talked to more.
Yes, you can out-earn the people above you, but you're never going to go above them in the structure of the pyramid, and all those people above you are always going to make money off of everything you do. We've learned that too.
People, because I presented the opportunity to more people. And so there's actually multiple ways to shadow the whole this is a pyramid thing. But trust me, most people telling you it's a pyramid, they don't even know what they're saying. So you don't usually have to really defend it much. Just say, what do you?
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. He was just saying most of these people don't actually know what a pyramid scheme is, and you don't really need to defend it much. And in my opinion, I don't think he actually knows what it means himself, because he was just describing a Ponzi scheme, not a pyramid scheme. So it looks like my computer's back up and running, but I think I'll just end it here because I don't want the video to stop again in the middle of our discussion and ruin the video. Let me know what you think about everything he said. I know that there was a lot of information here. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know if something I said wasn't clear, or if you have opinions. I'd love to hear it down below. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.